Today we've got Gary Dempsey, former player. Been a long time since you've been here.
Yeah, it's been a long time, a hell of a long time. I think I left in 2005. I think it was, yeah. Yeah, so I haven't been back. I've been in around the town, but I haven't been back in and around the stadium. Flew in and out in Edinburgh lots of times, but no, it's the first time back. So it's good to get back. All the old faces are still here, and good result today as well at the top of the hall. So no, it's been a good day.
And why did you not come and visit us before?
Well, obviously, when I left, I went up to Aberdeen, and then ended up down in England with Yeovil, and then back playing in Ireland, and then back to Darlington, back and forward between Ireland and England. So I suppose I never really had a chance. And sort of, I think one of probably the main reasons was there was none of the lads that I played with were still here. I think everybody moved on. I think that summer after I left, obviously Baz came up to Aberdeen, and Stevie and Craig, and I think Nipper retired, and Scott Wilson and Greg Shields, they all moved on. You know, it was amazing there. There was only really Sean Murdoch, who was only a young lad when I was here, was the only one in the squad, and obviously with Mo and the backroom guys and Sandy, we didn't. There was nobody from when we were here, you know, apart from you guys around the hospitality and stuff, you know.
Yeah. When you first came to Dunfermline, you were signed by Jamie Carragher in July 2002.
Yeah.
So how did that move come about? How did the contact come?
Well, I was playing, obviously I was at Everton when I was younger, so I was 4 years at Everton, and then I went back to play in Ireland, and I had been playing with the Irish international schoolboy teams all the way up, so I had 15s, 16s, 17s, 18s and 20s. And then I got an when I was playing in Ireland with Waterford, I got a call up to the under-21s, and Don Gibbons was the Irish under-21s manager at the time, who was pals with Jimmy C. And I think they were just talking, and Don said, listen, there's a player here, he's only 20, have a look at him. And yeah, I can't even remember who called me or how it came about, but it was an invitation to come over and train. So I come over and trained, and really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it, and I was keen to get back into full-time football after spending 4 years at Everton. So yeah, I came over, enjoyed it. They wanted to sign me, I wanted to sign. You know, obviously the big attraction was the two Jimmies and being in the SPL at the time and stuff like that, and big games against Celtic and Maine and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so that was pretty much it. I think I came back. I think I came back like the week later or something like that and signed. Yeah, so it was pretty quick once we.
Yeah, did you know anything about the two Jimmies before you actually came here?
No, I had no idea. Obviously, I knew a good coach when having worked with a few Cowboys, let's say, who weren't that good and think that they were good. While I was younger, I knew a good coach, and I knew a good training session, and I knew a good feeling around the place. And the buzz and the feeling and the atmosphere around the place was really good. It was deadly. It was really good. Really enjoyed it, and I liked the intensity of their training. I think Jimmy's time in Holland probably, you know, was what he brought to the training sessions, and obviously then the enthusiasm of Jimmy Nick and stuff like that as well. He couldn't help but ride on the wave of that. So no, I didn't know much about them at all really until I came over.
And then when you arrived, then you went off to New Zealand.
That's right.
And Holland during the Preseason, so it was probably a bit manic for you.
Yeah, it was. It was manic, but it was fantastic. You know, to go down. I think we done 10 days in New Zealand, and then we went off to Holland as well, where Jimmy always does these pre-seasons. It was great. It was what a way to. I mean, you come in and you're starting pre-season, and straight away you're off down that part of the world, like, you know. And it was great for me to be around the players and see who was who and who was what and who I was going to get on with and who I wasn't going to get on with, type of thing. Yeah, no, that was great. Them trips were great. I think we ended up being away for about 3 weeks, if I'm right. But no, I really enjoyed it. Obviously, I was a single lad at the time. I was going out with Louise at the time, but you know, Louise was still in Ireland, so it didn't. You know, it wasn't as if I was going off and leaving the family behind. So it was really enjoyable for me.
And then during that season, you started quite a lot of the games, and your first goal happened to be against Celtic.
Yeah. Well, that was our first game of the season, wasn't it? We were when the fixtures come out. it was amazing. The fixtures come out and like being an Irish lad and supporting Celtic and the Irish connection and all that. To be for our first game to be away to Celtic was unreal. And I was on the bench, I was in the squad, and I was delighted, and everything was great. And obviously we went 2-0 down. Well, I think at that time you're 20 years of age. He didn't really care. You were fearless, you know. So he brought me on, just said, "Listen, go on, try and affect the game and enjoy it." And so I went on, and literally within a minute of coming on, I think I lobbed Rob Douglas, and it's 2-1, and all of a sudden it's game on, you know. And then the last 20 minutes were frantic and hectic, but the atmosphere and the buzz around the place was great, you know. And even though we lost, it's crazy feeling. We lost. I'm back on the bus and I'm absolutely on cloud 9, you know. And they had a horrible rule at the time amongst the players and the staff. There was no mobile phones on the bus. So like my mobile phone was on the table on the bus, and it was just hopping, just constantly ringing text messages, and I couldn't answer any of them. I so wanted to say, right boys, I'll pay the £100 fine, I'm answering all these phone calls, but I didn't. I had to wait till I got off the bus, and then sure, needless to say, I was on the phone all night. And then I went from there. He threw me into the team then. I think I started the next game. Was it Dundee? I think Dundee United was the third one. And I scored there as well, and we went to Hibs and beat Hibs for the first time in Easter Road for years. So we had a brilliant start to the season, and it's a brilliant start to my career here, you know.
Yeah, because you were playing along the line in midfield along the likes of Barry Nick and Gary Mason. And,
yeah, we did great because it worked out well for me because we were playing 3 in the middle, and he had the players to play there, with Gaz sitting there and just leaving me and Baz to get on with it. He obviously Scott Wilson and Shieldsy and Scalar and all that, and Nipper then playing a sweeper, so it worked out. We had the players to play the system, so it was great. Yeah, so we had a right good team at the time.
Yeah. You broke your jaw that season as well.
Was that season? Was that season?
Yeah, against Kilmarnock.
Yeah, that's right, I broke my jaw, I remember that. We were away to Kilmarnock. Did I come on? I can't remember. But I remember going up for a header. I'll never actually forget it because it was funny. I went up for a header and a guy hit me from here. And it was a bad bang. I knew I was in trouble. But I thought, alright, okay, I'm not dizzy. I'm not, I didn't get knocked out or anything like that. So I'm thinking, right, I'm okay. But the more the game went on, the more so I'm in a half time and I'm like, I think I'm in trouble here. But so I'm getting a bollock, and Jimmy had because I don't know, I can't even remember how I played, but I remember getting a bollock, and I was like, I can't even talk, and you're But I played on and completed the game. But I remember getting on the bus after the game, and I couldn't keep my eyes open, so I knew there was something going on. Whether now that was delayed concussion or what, I don't know. But I was literally, and the boys had to keep me awake. The boys were really worried about me. And then obviously straight to hospital and X-rays and broken jaw. Disaster. Absolute disaster. But thankfully it was a break that didn't need to be wired. So it was just a break, and it was like, right, okay, obviously you can't eat, you got to blend everything for I think it was about a month. So and you couldn't train, so I got a bit of time back home, and then sort of came back. I couldn't do any physical work at all, but once I had said enough, I could do a lot of fitness work and stuff. So that when I did thankfully heal, I was fit enough to go back into the team, But
and then
that wasn't nice.
No, and then your pal came over from Ireland.
Yeah, well, he was he'd been on at me because I had been saying, because there was a rule. There was a rule in the SPL at the time that you had to have 3 or 4 under 21 players in your squad, in your Man City squad. So that was perfect for me because obviously I was only 20 and I was playing. So he obviously thought I was better than all the 20-year-olds he had here, and he was constantly saying to me, "Is there anyone else? And I was saying, "Well, there's a lad that played centre forward with me, Noel Hunt, and I think Hunty was only 19 at the time." I said, "Get him in." I said, "He'll come over tomorrow morning if you ring him." And so Hunty come in, and he's like me, he's bubbly, he's jokey, he's laughy, having a crack, and again, like in a nice way, but real confident in what he could do. And he came in and he was brilliant in training, and straight away Jimmy was like, "Yeah, he'll do it for me." And then obviously Hunty recommended Richie, and then Richie ended up here, so it was it was great. I think it helped. Obviously it helped Hunty having me here, and then likewise it helped me having him come over, and and we were in the apartment together, and I bought the house then, and he moved in with me. So yeah, no, it was great.
There's a couple of wee stories about that. Now, there's a story that Jimmy Nichols says
Right.
when Hunty came over, that the way him and Jimmy C met the two of yous,
Right.
they went for a drink, bought yous a soft drink each.
Oh, this story, I've heard this story. And we swapped seats instead of swapping the glasses. That's actually not true. He used that, he's been using that on his after dinner speeches and to tell stories about us, and he used it at the Player of the Year thing and stuff that year. But yeah, no, that's not true. But probably the other stories are, some of the other ones that, some of the stuff that happened are probably true, you know. But
Was that about somebody taking your washing to the laundry rather than the
well, that was us.
dry cleaners?
That was us. That wasn't somebody else. That was us. We were in the apartment, and we had because obviously it was a small apartment, so it was a washing machine and a dryer all in one. So we had the breeze. Like, we were trying to wash our clothes and we were drying them, and then we were trying to dry them and we were washing them. So we said, look, let's just find a laundry where we can just leave them in at the end of the week or whatever and get them. So we were driving around, and eventually, yeah, there we go. So we went in, I left the clothes in, and the woman said, right, come back in a couple of days, that'll all be done for you. And when we went in, I pulled up outside what we thought was a laundrette, but it turned out to be a dry cleaners. And I said to Hunty, go in, I think I have Hunty like £20. I said, go in there and collect the stuff. And he came back out and said, this £20 not enough. And I was like, how? Like, it's only 2 bags of laundry, like. And he's like, no, it's £127 or something. And I was like, what? How? What the hell's happened here? So then we went in, like, and she's giving us our bill, like, and it's like £3 for a dry clean and a pair of socks, and £3 for a pair of boxers. And we're like, what? And we were saying to her, like, what's the story here? And she goes, you know this is a dry cleaners, don't you? And we were like, no, we thought it was a laundrette. So we ended up having and then there's all these suits going around, you know, after being dry cleaned, and then our Dunfermline tracksuit comes around on the carousel. Oh, it was an absolute disaster. So we ended up having to pay for 2 black bags of washing £127. So we ended up bringing it into the girls in the laundry here, and they done it for us, and we gave them a few bob every week. But oh, what a disaster. But that was us all over. And
yeah, so it was a bit of fun with it too.
Yeah, it was great. It was good. Like, you couldn't help but, like, we got out in the car, like, as angry as you are in there, you know, you're like, seriously, £127, but we paid it, and the two of us sat in the car and just looked at each other and burst out laughing. Like, it was just madness, you know. But it was great. It was fun. It was really funny.
That season, the first season you finished 5th in the Premier League, and there was obviously the controversy in the last game of that season between Rangers,
yeah.
Celtic going for the title,
yeah. Yeah, obviously it was neck and neck, wasn't it? And it was going to ultimately come down to goal difference. And I remember we were, of course, it had to be us, didn't it, going to Irobox on the last day, and I think Celtic at Kilmarnock. We went 1-0 up. Happy days, everything was good. I was buzzing because I wanted Celtic to win the league, not Rangers. So we were buzzing, but I mean, Rangers were relentless, like, because they knew they had to score sort of a Ganzi load of goals against us, you know, and they just kept coming, and we just couldn't, like, I mean, you forget that Rangers team had some serious players in it, you know. It didn't matter to us, we were already in the top 6, you know, not that we were on our holiday or far from it. But I remember Chris Sutton coming out after, and in the paper saying we lay down and all, and the 2 Jimmys being Rangers men, ex-Rangers men, and all this, and they were delighted Rangers won it. But it was nothing of the sort. It was like a half time. What was the score? It was a 3-1 at half time, I think. And they were like, they weren't saying, oh, just go out and enjoy the second half. They were getting stuck into us, you know, and saying, you know, make sure this doesn't turn into a farce. But we just couldn't keep them out. They were just too good on the day, and you know, they just kept attacking, and there was nothing they could do. It was just the way it turned out on the day was a disaster. But silly comments from something, silly to come out and say that any professional would lie down and not try, you know. But hey, look.
Then the following season, Richie arrived, and then you were playing on the artificial surface.
Yep.
So what did you think of the artificial surface?
The astroturf wasn't great. It wasn't great at all. It wasn't good for the players, and it wasn't good for. It was the only beneficial of the the astroturf really was training, that we could train on it. It was a really good training facility. But as for playing games on it, now I'm all for playing games on artificial, on astroturf, if it is junior soccer games and stuff, but to play top flight football on it wasn't great. And I think at the time as well, what really bugged us as players, it wasn't the best Astro that was available. They were like selling us, saying that this is 3G or 4G Astro, whatever it was, and it was but it wasn't like, I had played on better Astros back home. So in that sense, the fact that they were going to do it, and I don't know who it was investing all the money in it, they didn't invest in, I didn't think, the best available Astro at the time. But for training it was fantastic, because the training was great, and there's no doubt it did give us an advantage playing when teams came and played on it. But no, not great for injuries and stuff like that. It wasn't fantastic.
And that was the season we had a good cup run.
Yes.
Got to the cup final. And you played and scored as well, I think, in one of the games.
Yeah, scored in a couple of the earlier rounds. Yeah, we had a really good run. The semi-final was a tough one. Inverness, we had to do that over 2 legs, but beat them well up in Aberdeen in the end. That was great. I mean, to get to the cup final then, and when we made the cup final, it meant we qualified for Europe as well. So what an end to the season it was. But the build up and the lead up to the cup final was unbelievable, you know, and coming in on the bus and seeing the fans, and then the way the game went, to go in at half time winning, and you're thinking, and then but we beat them. We had beaten them the week before, because they were getting the trophy at Parkhead a week or 2 weeks before, and we beat them 2-1. I scored that day as well. And Big Richie and Hunty played, and we all played, and they had most of their big lads playing, so we were going into the game really confident, because as you said, we had a really good season. But then obviously Henrik, after 65 minutes, decides to, from our corner, which was a terrible goal to give away, and then I think once they made it 1-1, it was always going to be an uphill task. But great day, really good day. And a good end to the season. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And then you played in Europe.
Yes.
Against Hafnarfjordur.
Yes. Yes.
So you had that eventful trip to Iceland, and,
yeah.
And then you played the second game at McDermott Park because of the artificial pitch.
That's right. Yeah. If I remember rightly, there was an issue with the planes, wasn't there? Our plane that wasn't organised, or something happened to our plane. Yeah, it wasn't great out there, to be honest. I think we drew 1-1, did we? Was it 1-1 out there? And then we come back, and I think I scored. I scored at McDermott Park to give us the lead, and then they scored the winner or equaliser late on to knock us out, which was an absolute disaster. Again, the way the game went that night, we shouldn't have. There's no way we should have lost the game, or lost the tie, because getting a 1-1 out there was tough, because we not that we thought it was going to be handy. There's no European game handy, but when we come in the dressing room with 1-1, you're thinking, okay, we've got our away goal, and you know, we don't even, you know, 0-0 and we're through type of thing, you know. But then to go ahead as well and stuff, and then to give it away late on was heartbreaking and stuff. But look, joys of football.
And you left in 2005 because Jimmy, obviously the two Jimmys had left to go to Aberdeen, and we'd had Davy Hay as manager.
Yes.
And then you left, and some kind of maybe no very good circumstances. You seem to fall out with the club for a wee while.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think you're probably referring to the quotes where I said something like, "I'd rather be on the dole than play for Dunfermline." And what actually happened was we were playing. Well, Billy and Davy came in. Davy was fine, but I had issues with Billy. I didn't think he was that great of a coach. I don't know what I still to this day I don't know what he thought of me as a player. But they obviously thought I was okay, because I played anytime I was fit. I played for them. But I mean, the two Jimmys set certain standards, and you know, and I had the same when I was at Everton. There's certain standards that you have to meet, and when we weren't doing it as a team, as players, as a group, and then the management staff weren't reinforcing it and saying come on, and yeah, I just wasn't enjoying it. Didn't enjoy it. That quote about sort of when I did left and went up to Aberdeen was more aimed at the management team than the club. I would never ever insult the club in a disrespectful manner like that and say I'd rather be on the dole. But I think at the time I didn't actually go on the dole, but I actually played for Aberdeen for free for a couple of months because it was overlapping the transfer windows or something. So it was just a spin that the bloody reporters put on it, and it looked terrible, and it's something that I deeply regret. But no, I never had an issue with the club. It was with them guys, really, to be honest. It was and Davey was fine. You know, when I went to speak to Davey about it, he was totally fine. He was like, look, I appreciate you coming knocking the door, and you know, I don't want you to be here if you're not going to be happy, and yeah, and that was pretty much it. And then went up to Aberdeen and sort of took the career from there then, you know. But the big pull for that was obviously the two Jimmies who brought me in, and I mean the way they looked after me and the other lads that they brought into the club. And I think when you see how many followed them to Aberdeen in the end, just goes to show how good the two of them were, you know. So when that whole thing came about and there was a chance to go there, it was a no-brainer for me, really.
So what did you do when you finished your career?
So I went from over a couple of years in Aberdeen, and then went down to England to give England a bash, and enjoyed it down there. I actually went down there with a broken foot, so I missed out pre-season and stuff like that. And then when I recovered from my broken foot, I was in the team at Yeovil. We were challenging for promotion. I was doing really well. I was scoring goals and stuff. And then I got an offer to go back and play back home for St Pat's. And it was too good to turn down. There was this property developer back home, and he was pumping money into the club, and I just couldn't turn the money down. I sort of said we had just had Jack in Yeovil at the time, and I said, Louise, will we take this and head home, you know? And Louise, in fairness, had been with me from here. She came to Dunfermline with me, came to Aberdeen with me, came to Yeovil with me, so she'd sort of done all the travelling around as well. So we decided to go home. Probably in hindsight, in looking back, probably the only regret I have is that I shouldn't have left Aberdeen. When my contract came to an end, or Jimmy was giving me another 2-year extension, and it was around the time where we had at Aberdeen, we had played, I can't remember what club it was, but we had played one of the teams like 3 times in the space of 5 weeks between the 2 cups and leagues, and then we still had to play them another, so we ended up playing someone like 4 or 5 or 6 times, and I was like, oh, you know, you just kind of get fed up with it. Like when I think it was only a 10-team league at the time, and I said, I'll go down and try give England a crack, you know. But yeah, that was probably the only regret. So I went back to St Pat's, played there, really successful there. More European football was great. Obviously the economy then went boom. Property developer who was pumping in the money there went boom, and then all of a sudden they're like, geez, oh, where are we going from here? So I went back and played with Bray Wanderers. Then Steve Staunton took me to Darlington, so I was at Darlington for 6 or 7 months, and then went back home and then stayed at home, and then went about setting up my academy and my after school soccer clinics and stuff like that, and then got into fitness, and now I run all my own fitness. We run fitness classes every day, 4 or 5 classes a day. In an old secondary school that we bought that we're going to convert into a gym. But I still play now. I'm a player manager of Greystones United in the Leinster Senior League, which is sort of a couple of leagues below the top league in League of Ireland. So I'm doing that, and I'm also looking after my son's little under 10 group. So I'm still involved plenty with football. Still keep an eye on what's going on here and all my other previous clubs. And none in the gym basically. So yeah, it's grand. I'm enjoying it. I think if I was living here or living in England, I would probably, because I've done all my coaching badges, I've got my A license now, and the next one is the pro license, which I don't think I'll do. So you know, you might see me back managing here maybe someday, because I think you can manage in the championship in Scotland with your A license, but you can't manage in the Premier League. You can't manage in the top division unless you've got the pro license. So so I think if I was here, I would definitely be working in one of my old clubs, whether it be Scotland or England, or I'd be definitely involved in sort of the academy level or something like that, you know.
Okay.